Hi there, my name is Jeff Ruin, and I'd like to share with you a process today for managing difficult emotions. I call this process the very creative 4 S's process because each of the steps begins with an S. And the 4 steps are stop, stay, soothe, and self-reflect. And I'm going to go through those one at a time right now. The first one, stop, is based on the observation that when we're having a difficult emotion, an intense emotion, our thought process is our worst enemy because we keep feeding that difficult emotion, whether it's fear, whether it's anger, whether it's anxiety. We think about it, we judge it, we replay scenarios in our mind. And the idea of stop is abruptly cutting that process at the root, cutting the storyline, stop telling ourselves what we think about the emotion and actually feel it in the gut. And that leads us automatically to the second step, which is stay. Now, being honest, this is the most difficult one of the 4 steps. We're not used to staying with a difficult emotion, with an intense emotion, without thinking about it over and over and over again. So we may experience a sense of feeling black or hot or heavy as we're sticking with this emotion. And that's where the bravery, that's where the courage comes in, that we're attempting to do this. It's a wonderful, uh, courageous effort that we're trying to do this at all, whether we're ultimately successful or not. And I should say this is a practice. We're not going to be great at this at the beginning, but over time, we get better and better at managing an emotion in this way rather than our usual way of just feeding it with thought. In order to help this emotion move through the body, I'm going to incorporate a technique from the Neuro-Emotional Technique playbook, or NET, which itself borrows from the traditional Chinese medicine 5 elements system. And the way this works is we're going to take our left hand and wrap our right hand around it as if we were taking our own pulse. We're not, but we're putting our 3 fingers, our lower fingers of our right hand, on the pulse point, and then we're placing our left hand directly on the forehead while we're staying with this emotion. We're going to do this for a minute if we can. Just feeling that emotion and letting the um, emotion move through our body, and the NET process will help regulate the meridians and move that emotion through our body a little more effectively. And then after a minute, we're going to reverse our hands and take our pulse of the right hand under the right thumb, and then again to the forehead. Feeling that emotion, letting it pulse right through us. So that's the staying process. And even if you can only do it for 10 seconds or 30 seconds, that's fine. We'll build up and we'll go for a minute or two, a minute on each hand. The third step is called soothe, and that has to do, we've just gone through a difficult process of stopping our thoughts and staying with this possibly black heavy emotion. And we're now going to soothe ourselves by invoking a tender heart quality toward ourselves as if we were soothing a young child. And think in your mind how that would go. You would be very tender, you would be very loving, there. And to facilitate that process, we're going to take our hand again and place it on the heart center, right here. And by putting our hand on our tender heart, that really helps to evoke that tender hearted quality. You might say to yourself, I am basically good, I am basically kind, I am perfectly imperfect, I forgive myself, I'm giving myself a break, and invoking that really self compassion toward itself. So now we have the last step, and the last step is called self reflection. And we're going to reflect on what just happened without judgment, without harshness, without analysis, just simply an observation. How did I do? Was this helpful? Was it not helpful? Was I able to stay with the emotion 30 seconds, a minute? How did that go? Now, the other quality of self reflection is on its own, it's a wonderful practice to um, reinforce in our life. I'm recording this during an unprecedented pandemic, and that leaves us feeling raw and exposed and vulnerable, which is a wonderful, wonderful, auspicious time to self reflect. Because we're feeling so raw, it's very easy to feel our tender hearted quality and ask ourselves very deep questions like, what do I want from my life? Who am I? Where am I going? How would I like to change my life for the better? And that self reflection should be part of everyone's playbook. I really feel like there's no more important quality to evoking the underlying qualities in our life, which are at that moment of feeling so raw, very accessible to us. So those are the 4 steps: stop, stay, soothe, and self-reflect. I hope this has been helpful. And for more information, you can go to the unconditionalhealing.org website. That's all one word. And there's other practices, there's other talks on there, and you can subscribe to the newsletter as well. So thank you very much and good luck.